Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paige Hanna. I am the Assistant Director of Marketing here at the Access Accelerator. And today we wanted to host this, like I said, a bit of a lunch and learn session to allow persons to learn a little bit more about the process, the requirements, and eligibility for the Royal Caribbean program. So again, today we're going over the Royal Caribbean program, the overview, and we'll have some presentations from executives of our organization. And then towards the end, we'll have a question and answer period where we will answer any additional questions. At this time, just a little bit of house rules. If you do have any questions throughout the session and the presentations, we ask that you do go ahead and put those in the comment section. We'll field those questions to our presenters and try and answer as much persons as possible to provide the most clarity on this program. Just to get us started, I welcome Samantha to go ahead and give us a brief overview of the program itself and the overview. Sorry, before you start, Samantha, if persons would like to follow along with the overview that we're going over, if you go to our website at accessaccelerator.org, you'll either see a pop-up, which you can click on, that'll take you directly to the Royal Caribbean program page. If you don't see that pop-up, you can click the funding tab and find the Royal Caribbean program page. And there you'll be able to follow along with us with the overview. Samantha?
Thank you so much, Paige. And again, welcome to this Facebook Live event to really talk about the Royal Caribbean program and to answer any questions that you may have. So my role today is really to start with, the overview and the goals. And so from an overview standpoint, the Access Accelerator has partnered up with Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has established a $250,000 fund, whereas we went ahead and we did a matching grant with that of another $250,000. That allows a $500,000 fund opportunity for micro and small businesses within the hospitality or tourism sector. With this, our program goals is really around the tourism recovery. And so considering what the impact has been and continue to be relative to COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to rejuvenate and relaunch our tourism product for any of the foreign and domestic tourists using the seed funding provided in partnership with Royal Caribbean. The other aspect of it is business development. So again, to create more profitable and sustainable businesses while cultivating strategic partnerships and supplying new markets within the tourism sector. And of course, while the funding is one critical component, there is a training opportunity. That's another critical component. So it provides some tailored training modules to assist with business and professional development. In order to be successful with this program or your application, we do have our eligibility criteria. And with that, it's for existing small businesses only. Must offer products and services for domestic and foreign tourists, including, but not limited to, so just highlighting some of what we may consider to be the norm within that sector. It could be accommodations. And so boutique hotels or any type of Airbnb type arrangement, tour experiences, taxi services, vehicle rentals, within the food and beverage, local made souvenirs, definitely performing arts. So these are just some highlights to give you an example, but again, not limited to. Of course, your business must service the islands of New Providence, Grand Bahama, or Berry Islands. And those are the specific geographical areas in which this program is for. Must earn an annual gross sales of less than $1 million. Again, it allows us to stay within that framework of micro and small businesses. Must be Bahamian owned and must provide all documents listed under the application requirements section, and we'll be able to go through that shortly. The other component, as I would have mentioned previously, is that training component. The training component is mandatory and it's about 5 hours. As I mentioned just a moment ago, there is an application or application requirements. And the requirements include and must be completed within the application, the executive summary. There's also a 2-minute pitch video requirement. Now, the pitch video is really just giving us in that what we would call an elevator pitch framework, an idea of your business and what the funds would be used for. Feel free, we're not asking you to go out and source any professional production company in order to do this pitch video. So again, taking a moment to structure yourself using your mobile phone and send us a 2-minute pitch video of your business, your concept, and how you would use the funds. Of course, mandatory at the time of the application is your current business license. We would also require your business filings. What does that mean? The business filings is really just those requirements you would have to submit to Inland Revenue, specifically related to the compilation or the reporting of your sales/revenue for the previous year. Now, we realize that in terms of having necessarily a TIN number or having to pay any VAT-related taxes, you would need to have that at a certain revenue amount. Anything below that threshold, you don't necessarily have to provide certified documents or accounting documents. However, for this, we do note in order to renew your business license, you do have to supply your previous year sales amount, or revenue amount, and that's what we would like to see. The other requirement is the Clean and Pristine badge, which we will speak about a little later in the presentation. Of course, your valid passport photo page, valid driver's license, NIB card, as well as your NIB registration certificate. Your voter's card or utility bill not older than 3 months, and your official vendor invoices and where the funding, not to exceed the amount that you were approved, but where the funding would be going to. In addition to sending those invoices, please also send wire instructions. And all of this information, again, is outlined in the overview document and can be found on our website. As previously mentioned, one of the requirements is the Clean and Pristine badge. And so the Ministry of Tourism, in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and some other regulatory agencies, launched this program, particularly related to, we have to get back into doing business while dealing with COVID-19. And in doing that, relative to those in the tourism sector, particularly the accommodation, so hotels, boutique hotels, we must be able to do that in a safe space and to consider all safety measurements. And so for that, tourism-related entities throughout the Bahamas are required to obtain the Clean and Pristine badge, which certifies compliance with the government's approved health and safety guidelines. So any businesses that wish to offer or wish to apply for this program, particularly related to entities or accommodations, again, whether it's the small boutique hotels or something similar, would need to have this badge. I can certainly find the certification information and to begin the process at the Tourism Today website. With that page, I think I would have covered the sections that I should be highlighting, and we would move forward with the process and how we go from end to end with this program, having Ria leading that section. Ria?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So thank you for that, Sam, for taking us through the eligibility requirements as well as the overview of the program. My task is to take you through what the actual process is for each applicant. So the first part of the process is that entrepreneurs must submit their application form in addition to the required documents. So those required documents that we're referencing would be those ones that would have been referenced earlier on slides 5 and 7, meaning those items outlined, the eligibility criteria, paying close attention to that, as well as the application requirements, making sure that you would have had all of those documents submitted. You can go to our website, which is accessaccelerator.org/Royal Caribbean Program, and you would be able to access those documents there. Of course, this is the page that's being referenced in terms of the application requirements. Once the application has been submitted, the applicants will all receive a link with the mandatory training sessions. And we do say that they're mandatory training sessions. Reason being, we want to make sure that it's not just simply persons having to submit an application and not even get a training component. One of those big factors for the Royal Caribbean Group would be to ensure that all of our applicants are receiving the necessary training or some element of training as they go through this particular program. These applications, once they would have been received or accepted, received or reviewed and approved, this is going to be done on an ongoing basis. All right, so which means as applications come in on a first come, first served basis, our team is actually prepared and ready to have the applications reviewed. Once the applications are reviewed, they're going to go through an initial screening process to see whether or not you would have met all of the eligibility criteria, first of all, in the first instance. And then after that, we'll definitely verify whether or not all of the documentations that we're requiring, they're all submitted and they are valid. Valid meaning, please do not submit documentation that you know that they're expired and they're not officially good to use at this particular point in time. All right, those applications that would pass the initial screening process, they will then be forwarded on to our Adjudication Committee. All right, the Adjudication Committee are those individuals, and these are some of the partners that we do have with us. We will be comprising of persons from the Access Accelerator, of course, Bahamas Agriculture and Industrial Corporation, Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Bahamas Development Bank, Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association, Bahamas Entrepreneurial Venture Fund Limited, the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, and the University of Bahamas. Of course, the Royal Caribbean will be a part of that process as well. Herein lies just an understanding to know that, the decision making is across sector, right? We have multiple persons that will be weighing in on having to adjudicate these applications as they are coming in. As a part of the Adjudication Committee process, they're going to be looking for whether or not they're going to be looking for the viability of the business, what is the management expertise, as well as the credit worthiness. All right, the approval process or the approval cycle is on a bi-monthly basis. And once that process, or once the applicant would have passed that process or passed that phase in the process, which is the adjudication side of things, you will receive a letter that indicates to you what you were approved for, as well as the special conditions that's going to apply. I must say to you that also part of the condition is that you have to accept the offer within the 5-day period. If it's not accepted, then it will be rescinded. Those persons that are unsuccessful in this process, you will also be notified. Once you are notified, you'll be invited to apply for training and funding under our flagship program, which is the Access Accelerator program. The loan and the grant proceeds will be dispersed. Once they are dispersed, they will be, of course, following the necessary internal policies and procedures that have been outlined for us to follow. Those persons that are successful candidates of the funding that will be awarded, please do note that the names will be published, as well as the successful applicants. It will be notified, and it will be indicating the amount of the funding that you would have been approved for. Applicants are also required, and it's important to note that they will also be required in order to participate in any public relation initiatives, which may include, but not limited to, of course, the newspaper features, social media stories, radio appearances, and the like. Applicants are also required, and this is vitally important for us, even as we take on any other initiative and initiatives such as these, it's important that we are able to gather economic impact data from each of you or each of the successful applicants over the course of the next 3 years post-approval date. All right, so therein lies I think that's the end of my section talking about the actual process that's involved with the Royal Caribbean program.
Okay, thank you, Ria. Thank you, Sam. Just to reiterate a bit on that process, if there are any questions, again, just a few housekeeping rules. You can go ahead and drop those in the comments now. We'll start to field those over to our panel, but we wanted to focus on the funding structure of this program, to break down a little bit the way that we came up with it, which grouping that your business may fall into, and what funding options are available. And so now we'll have our Deputy Director and Chief Operations Officer, Nicholas Higgs, just break down a little bit what this means when it comes to the funding structure of this program. Nick?
Good afternoon, everybody. Paige, you can hear me?
Yes, we can. Yep.
But thank you, everyone, for coming to listen in. Thank you so much for seeing this opportunity that our team has worked considerably hard on as a viable one for you and your business. So for the funding structure, the total amount budgeted for this program is $500,000, which is a considerable amount that we're investing into this opportunity. And so this will be grouped into 3 options, group A, B, and C. And what's critical about this is it will be half grant and half loan. So the half loan is the portion to pay back at considerably low rates, whilst the grant portion you don't have to pay back. And we added this grant structure in there just to ensure that we're giving you a boost. We want to make sure that, hey, you're not weighed down by debt, but you also have an opportunity just to have this funding and know that you're putting it towards your company. So group A, they have earned less than $250,000 a year. That's group A, less than $250,000 a year, and they're eligible to apply for up to $5,000, which is $2,500 loan, $2,500 grant. Group B is between $250,000 and $500,000, and they can apply for $10,000, which is $5,000 grant, $5,000 loan. And group C, which is critical, is between the ranges of $500,000 to $1 million in sales that our company has earned, and they can apply to $15,000, which is $7,500 in loan and $7,500 in grant. So please utilize these opportunities. This is a critical moment for you to get this funding in a different process that's not in our traditional process. This is one specifically dedicated for you through the RCCL team. And I think that everyone who looks for this opportunity can absorb the positive benefits of it. And so again, it's on a first come, first serve basis. So the faster you come in, the quicker you move, the faster you are to say, hey, I want to get this money and this opportunity, the higher your percent chance of getting success. And the loans are for 5 years, which gives you a considerably better interest rate, interest payment amount. And so we're very excited for those who apply and see those who are successful in receiving the funding. Thank you, Paige.
All right, thank you, Nicholas. Sam, I guess you could stop sharing your screen now because we'll go into the Q&A section of this program. And so what we'll do again is we will field the questions from Facebook, or we'll go over some frequently asked questions that we may not have covered, or maybe need to go a little deeper into for those who are just joining us. But let's start with our Facebook question. So we have a question here, Ria, Nick, or Sam. What about businesses that have not been open for a year? So we spoke about eligibility being for existing businesses. What about businesses that have not been open for a year?
Well, hi, Paige. So this program is set up for those businesses who are within, I'm sorry, thank you. The eligibility program, it is set up for existing businesses. And what we mean by that is we're looking at those who have already been established 2 years and on, if I'm not mistaken. As we have defined our startups, and our existing to be startups would be anything under 2 years.
Okay, thank you. We have another question here. What financials are required? So this would reference, I guess, again, the requirements for the application. So what financials are required?
Yes, so again, we were asking for business filings or financials. Again, we're not seeking to have those that are certified by any public accountant. But what we are seeking to have is with any business, you should be keeping proper records of your sales/revenue. And so with that, and also in keeping with the request or requirement by Inland Revenue to renew your business license for this current year, you should have already submitted what we consider business filings/financials that would highlight your previous year sales/revenue.
I think I would,
Okay.
sorry,
No,
I
go
would just
ahead,
want to add to that real quick. For those persons that may be wondering the specifics of what it is that you need to add or include, once you take a look at the actual application form, the application form itself pretty much breaks down exactly what information or what numbers we're asking you for. So in terms of your actual sales, the period that we're asking you for, once you take a look at the application itself, you will be able to clearly outline and be able to plug in the numbers. And I ask you to please put in numbers and not try to abbreviate it in the way that you yourself probably may understand. So yes, the application itself, the form, once you take a look at it, they'll be able to see exactly the numbers, what it is that it's being asked for, meaning your net profit, your net loss, your sales, your revenue, that sort of stuff, and the exact period that it is that we're looking to overview.
Right, and just to add to Sam and Ria's points, as you can tell from the funding structure, your business falls into a certain grouping. So with you providing those financials, it would help us to understand exactly where your business falls, what you're eligible for. All right. So another question we have here, a frequently asked question, and I think some persons may have overlooked this with eligibility requirements, but why only New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Berry Islands?
Okay, well, Paige, I think I'll go ahead and take that one. It really has to do with our strategic partner in this program, which is Royal Caribbean. And Royal Caribbean currently service those areas. And so in this first program or stint of the program, certainly we want to impact those particular areas in which they service, which is New Providence, Grand Bahama, and Berry Islands.
Okay, and the next two questions, or like I said, frequently asked questions. I'll kind of merge these two together. So someone asked, does this apply to business startups? That would have been addressed in the requirements that it is existing businesses. So the next question is, why only existing businesses for this particular program?
Okay. So what we're looking at, because we do have a number of programs that we have for startups. And of course, startups are very important. For this particular program, you know, it's really connected to that regeneration or recovery of existing businesses who were impacted by the pandemic. So it was really just you know, an offering, a program that was geared towards those existing businesses who have been impacted. And we wanted to start with that as well, because as we get back into the flow of things and finding ways to live with the pandemic, one of the major sectors, our primary sector in the country is tourism, that was severely impacted. And we wanted to assist and help Royal Caribbean in partnership, those existing businesses.
I think I would like to add to that, Sam. One of the things I think from as you consider what it may require for a startup to get up and running versus a business that's already existing and probably already have the clientele, they already have some sort of momentum. It also helps us being able to make a good impact, I think even much quicker too. with being able to help some of those existing businesses who may have already been able to identify some of the soft spots or some of those areas where they are experiencing some challenges. And they're saying, you know, something, I just need a little boost in this area that's going to help me to get right back on track. So those are some of the things that we're considering, even as we think about a startup business versus an existing business. The startup business may require a bit more at this particular point. So for those persons that already have some sort of momentum that's going, we want to be able to pretty much come alongside them at this point, just to help them to get over to the next step.
Yes, Ria, thank you for that.
Right, thank you. And so, I mean, while we're on that point, this isn't necessarily a question, but I'll pose it. We have these programs or these initiatives that, you know, come on stream throughout the pipeline of our year. I guess it's important for us to know we don't, as an organization, turn away startup businesses because we do have that flagship program. So I guess in this instance, could someone just speak a little bit to our flagship program and how different programs and initiatives that we do throughout the year can be targeted and may have stricter restrictions on eligibility?
Okay, so I can talk about the flagship program. So the flagship program that we do have, which we call the Access Accelerator program, and it's a really good program which allows the individual who probably may be in that category of startup to have an opportunity to present their business plan. If you do have an existing plan, you can submit your business plan outlining exactly what it is that you would want to get access to. As well as when you think about it in terms of the actual amount, you're a lot more flexible too, in terms of the amount that you can possibly apply for with the actual regular program. In addition to that, for those persons who may not necessarily have a business plan ready, and they say that, you know something, I'm prepared to go through the process and actually write the business plan. So with our regular program, persons have an opportunity to actually go through a training that will also help them with having to create their own plan. The next option is, as well as those persons who say, you know something, I don't have my business plan and I do not want to go ahead and write it myself, I need some assistance. We also provide an opportunity for persons to say, you know something, hey, I need help with a business plan. And as you go through the vetting process, of course, we'll be able to say, or you'll be able to identify which vendor possibly will be able to assist you with that and have somebody help you with the writing of your business plan. Once those business plans are actually at that point of completion, then they go through what we call our credit review committee. And that's where the business owner would have an opportunity to pitch their business idea to a committee or an investment committee that will allow them to be able to see, you know, something, is this a business that we want to go ahead and support? If it is, of course, that we want to go ahead and support, depending on the amount it is that you're looking for, then it's also backed by a guarantee, right? There's part of it that can be backed by the guarantee. Once you pass that part of the process, then you'd move on to the funding stage. That's where your business opportunities or your business ideas are then sent out to the financial institutions, and the financial institutions would then say whether or not they are prepared to go ahead and take on this initiative. So herein lies, you know, the regular program. It provides so many different opportunities. And another thing that I would want to add that comes by way or benefit to those persons who just simply decide to be a part of the regular program is the training component. And I do not want us to discount the level of information, the value that persons actually obtain from the information that they get from the training programs, because believe it or not, not every client that comes to us actually come to us for funding. Not every client comes looking for funding. There are clients who would come to us simply saying that I just need support. I need help. I need advocacy. So whatever it is, do not take it for granted that you have access to training programs that can help you to not only start your business, improve your business, but also grow your business and take it to the next level. So those are just some of the highlights from our regular program that I wanted to make sure that those persons that's listening in, they are well in tune with, so that they can see the value of what it is that we have to offer, aside from some of the other programs that we may offer from time to time.
Thank you, Ria. So back to some of the requirements for this particular Royal Caribbean program. Can you elaborate on who and how persons should go about getting the clean and pristine badge if you fall into that accommodations sector of the tourism industry?
Hi, Paige. I guess I will take that one in terms of the clean and pristine badge. Again, that is something that a program established in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Health and perhaps some other regulatory agencies that really came through the point of us getting back into business and doing it in a safe manner. And so hence the accommodation entities, that being hotels and vacation rentals throughout the Bahamas, are required to obtain the clean and pristine badge, which certifies compliance with the government's approved health and safety guidelines. And so visitors are also being encouraged to only do business with vendors who display the badge on their website, signage, and social media pages. So to begin the pre-certification process, please go to www.tourismtoday.com. And there's, the URL is definitely included in our overview document. You can access through Access Accelerator's website.
Right, and we would have just dropped it in the comments as well. So if you want to, you can check out that URL. There's more information on how to obtain it, how to apply, what all is needed to move forward in that process. So we have another question here. It's about the pitch video. Someone wants to know, are you able to review the main items to be included in this pitch video? So what's supposed to be included in the pitch video?
So again,
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, so that's no problem. All right, so for the pitch video, I want persons to know that do not overthink it. As Sam would have indicated a little bit earlier, we don't need you to go ahead and get a production company to go ahead and produce this video for us, right? We simply want to see you as the business owner. We want to get a feel for who it is that you are. We want to get an understanding of your business. What is your business? Who is your target market? You may even tie in a little bit of your story, talking about what is the problem that you're solving and the solution that you're coming up by way of this particular business idea. Another thing that you would want to highlight in your pitch video is also helping us understand what is it that you intend to use these funds for. So if you are thinking that you need to purchase a particular machinery, or you want to pay to get your website, I mean, depending, of course, yet again, and I'm going to be careful with what it is that I say, because we have to make sure that you are falling within the criteria that has been outlined for this specific program. All right, every program is different, but we just want to get an idea as to what your business is, what it is that you do, what it is that you're proposing to do, how it is that you're intending to go ahead and use the funds, and that's pretty much about it. So how is it that you can actually facilitate this pitch video? I would say for those of you, most persons right now have cell phones. So you pretty much can set up your cell phone to be able to record a nice, simple video that's clear enough. Make sure your audio is clear so that we can fully understand what it is that you're saying, because it will be, if we're listening, we're trying our best to make sure that we capture all of the information. So make sure your sound is clear, your lighting, everything is on point, and we're able to actually see and gather what it is that you want to go ahead and say. So those are my quick tips with what it is that we are expecting to get from the pitch video. And please, I will say this, please do not go over the time period that has been allotted. And here's why I'm saying that. It's important that you know that we need to make sure that we stick within the set time limit that has been given, because if you don't, then there are some implications that may come with that. But we also want to enforce or train persons to know how to follow instructions and follow them properly. So we've given you a time limit that we'd like for you to stay within, so that you can get the information out within a short period of time. And that will give us a good idea as to what it is that you're proposing as it relates to your business and what you're planning to do with the funds.
Thank you, Ria. So we have a question here. Under this program with Royal Caribbean, will Royal Caribbean promote tourism-based businesses by promoting them to their guests? And will there be commission component attached to this ticket, the ticket?
Well, Paige, as Royal Caribbean is not, or representative is not online with us, I certainly do not want to commit anything relative to them particularly, but I would say that based on the radio show that we hosted or we facilitated yesterday, TJ, a representative from Royal Caribbean, did indicate that, hey, we have a lifetime partnership with Access Accelerator. And through different and various forms in which we can promote certainly those businesses in which we have approved for funding and facilitated any type of training and professional development opportunities, who've become our Access Accelerator or A² family, we will find ways to certainly promote their businesses, whether it's tourism or any other sector within various industries.
Thank you for that. Another question we have here is there a deadline for the application to be submitted? This is an important one.
Well, I'll take that important question. Is there a deadline for the application to be submitted? Now, one of the things that has been highlighted, I think multiple times in the overview document, is that this program is on a first come, first serve basis, which means do not have the thought process that, this is forever and ever, amen. Because we do have a set amount of funds that has been designated for this program. So it all depends on the first persons that are coming in as quickly as you can get in. And I want to encourage persons, I want to take this opportunity to encourage you. If you are thinking about applying for the program, please do not wait until the last minute to try and apply. I want to encourage you, get that pitch video done, get your application form filled out and have it submitted. I mean, take the chance and submit your application so that you can be within the first set of numbers to be reviewed, because once the funds are exhausted, they are exhausted. So we want to encourage, although there may not be an actual set deadline, the deadline is when the funds are exhausted. That's the deadline. So which means, we're not able to actually put an actual date to the deadline as we probably would have done in the past with saying, on such and such a date at this time, the application is closing. No, that's not the case. At this point, it is a first come, first serve basis. And we really want to strongly encourage persons to not wait until the last minute to go ahead and have your application submitted. Complete your application, submit that pitch video without fear, and allow the process to take its course. But don't wait until last minute having to submit your application. Go ahead and submit it right away.
Yes, so let me just reiterate what Ria has said in terms of encouraging you not to wait because you don't think that there is no set deadline. We've had an overwhelming number of applications come in, especially over the past few days, as we've been doing various ways of marketing or advertising this program. And so as they come in, the rolling submission is just as the rolling approvals. As they come in, we do our review right away and we submit it to the Adjudication Committee and we move forward. So please do not wait thinking that because there is no deadline, that there is a never-ending flow of funds. We have a set amount of funds, and as they come in and they're approved, it goes out.
Right, and just to add to what both Sam and Ria said, so we can see like you are able to save your application. There's a significant amount of persons who would have started, but for whatever reason haven't come back to their application as yet. Just a little note for that. If you have saved your application, you should have received an email that provided you that save link so you can return to resume and complete your application. Also, if you're having trouble finding that, we ask that you visit our help desk and we would be able to provide that URL for you. So if you're having any issues there, we encourage you to take that route. Additionally, once you submit your application, you have access to the training videos. And this is an important note that we need to make as well, because your application is actually not considered complete until you finish those training videos. And what we mean by that is not just opening the training course, but you actually have to complete the full amount of time for the training videos. We are able to see how long you've watched a video. So if it's been 1 second or 1 hour, we will be able to see that. So we're just encouraging you to, once you get to this process, help us help you by moving it along and completing everything to wrap up your application so that we could fully submit it to the committee and get to the approvals portion of this program. Anything else to that, or is that wraps
I think
up?
that's perfect. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. In addition, another question we have here, and we have about 10 more minutes before we come to an end. So if you have any questions, drop them now. So here's a question we have. If I am already an existing business owner in tourism, can I apply for the liability insurance without applying for the program?
You actually can. So while we have incorporated the liability insurance program in this particular program, we do have that open to other, if I may call them Access Accelerator clients, or those who are interested in having the liability coverage. We realize that, in particular with working not only with Royal Caribbean, but perhaps some of our other strategic partners, in doing business with them and in doing business with others, you may require, particularly in the tourism industry or hospitality industry, you are generally required to have a certain threshold in terms of insurance coverage. And so that within itself may be challenging, just as access to capital may be challenging to a number of micro and small businesses. And so Access Accelerator have launched the liability insurance program. You should be able to find details as I'm seeing it here on our Access Accelerator website. And I think we can very well drop that URL in the link for those persons who wish to, one, either get more information on it or just quickly apply.
All right, thank you. We have another question here asking, are these businesses service-based or product-based?
Great question. We do have where we indicated that it's for small businesses, whether it is service-based or product-based.
Okay.
I would also
So
just want to.
Go ahead, Rio.
Sorry. No, so the only thing I would want to add to that is just to make sure for the person that's asking that question, just to make sure that you would have fallen within the eligibility criteria component. Whatever it is, if it's a service or a product that you're offering, if it is something that falls within the guidelines of the eligibility criteria, then you would have met that.
Yes. And part of it, we did indicate must offer products and services for domestic and foreign tourists.
Tourists, yes.
Right, and an important thing to note here, I know today would have been a bit of a dialogue where we